Okay, so, introduce mo pangalan natin, di na?
Pwede rin.
Okay, so I am Sister Adela, my official name, but when I entered the congregation, I selected the name Sister Lucy. And before I entered the congregation, I had been teaching profession for how many years already? And I entered the congregation when I had my former congregation. But then in this congregation, I entered 1983 in Rome. So from there, I started my formation. And then after 3 years, I was sent back to the Philippines. And I was made to help in Ville St. John, which was my first assignment. And since Ville St. John, that time has no Filipino principal, which is a need of the DepEd, so I was assigned there, and I worked in that school for 15 years filled with happiness and then fulfillment, also joy and some challenges. Then I found out that in teaching, it's really fulfilling. It's a noble one. It is non-compensated because you don't work for money, but you work because you really love to work for the children. Especially we are in this kind of apostolate wherein the sacrifice really is there to deal with students the from the elementary school to the high school, which is very challenging. And then, of course, we had our identity as a Ville St. John. They can identify us with our students can identify us because when they were exposed outside, they have the discipline, a discipline which doesn't emanate from fear or what. A discipline that it comes from them because they really have to do this because that's a part of their formation. And one thing I can characterize our postulate is we have this family atmosphere. What I mean by family atmosphere is it's just a kind of relationship wherein there is no gap between the sisters, the students, and the workers. But it doesn't mean also that there is too much familiarity. It's family in such a way that you can relate to each other in a very natural and simple style without much protocol, without much other things that you have to do before you can get inside the office or you can talk to the sisters. So that is. And then, although some students transfer to other school, but then they return because they're looking for that atmosphere wherein they could not find it. Yes, of course, other schools, they have this kind of Christian formation, which is natural among Catholic schools, values education. But there is something which is very identical to our school, as School of Ville St. John, the congregation school. So within those 15 years, I enjoyed my teaching, although it's not all sweet. There are some also sour moments. That's a part of your challenge. Then from there, I was into Zambales for another 4 years. Then, it was at our school, but then I found fulfillment because at least we were able to help the students spiritually, morally, intellectually, and also physically. Then from Zambales, I was assigned to Immaculate Conception School, formerly, that was named 2004, and then onward to 2010. With all the teaching years that I was engaged in, I did never regret because I really love it. Because the principle is, as long as you can do it, you do to the best. You stand with pride so that you not bow with regret in the last years of your life. You will not say, I should have done this. No, because we have done these things not for our own sake. Because sometimes school you cannot find some students saying thank you, especially they are very strict to them. They will come to realize that we are doing good for them after how many years that they have already been in service. And then the moment they return to school, they return to us, they will say, Sister, thank you for all the things you have done. Because if not of that, then we could have never been like this. So thank you for your discipline with love. It doesn't matter if the students love you or not. on that very moment because they don't realize really. But in the end, they realize that all that we do was for them. So it's a kind of a consolation in the apostolate. It is a noble job. It's a task where Christ himself was a teacher. Noble in such a way that you have some lofty ideals. It is not noble because you have to earn much money. No, there is no monetary involved there because we work for them no matter what. Our school is not a profiteering school. It's a school, a mission to help them, whether they're in Manila or in the province. It's just the same. It differs only in a kind of place of apostolate. But really, I can say that we, sisters, the congregation of Sisters and the Baptists, we really work hard for them. Be it in the children's home, be it in the retreat house, be it in school, or the apostolate that we have. We always bear in mind that you have to prepare the way of the Lord as St. John the Baptist is doing. To the ultimate aim of being a martyrdom, but then we don't want to be martyred to be cut like St. John's head. But it's a martyrdom daily to sacrifice for the students, for the apostolate, because sometimes you are misunderstood, but then you work for them no matter what. So as I said, we really work, the congregation work, together with the sisters, we work in union. There is no one who works for her own, because the congregation is one. Because if a certain sister works for her own, then she is not within the area of the congregation, because there is no separate apostolate. It's for all the glory of God. So you have to work as one. Congregation, Sisters of St. John the Baptist. So anyway, our apostolate doesn't end here. We have to look forward to extend beyond the horizon, not only catering to the people who can afford, but most especially to the marginalized people, to the people in poor areas. Because as of now, we are not much extended to other areas. But the aim is, we have to help more, extend more, so that we can accommodate more. We can extend our services to them. In the near future, maybe, of course, we have branches in other countries, but we would like also to branch out to countries that are really needing our help. If we cannot go out, at least in the Philippines, when we can penetrate to areas wherein they really need this kind of not only financial help, spiritual help, psychological help, and sort of intellectual help, to make our student to develop their kind of they become a person of integrity, that they can face the society without this kind of discrimination. Because if everybody is equal, when everybody is equal footing, on equal standing, so there are no slaves and there are no slaves masters, because we live on equal footing. It's not a communism, but it's a kind of a utopian society where all people will be happy, satisfied in their own simple ways. That is the aim.
Okay.